the road. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Graduate Program 2023 and our Homebred Yearling Unveiling. I'm TK Kugler. We have George Adams on the phone, on the line, and Michelle Kugler, who all of you know. So thanks for joining tonight. We're gonna go through, just so everyone's got it. We're gonna cover the graduate program. We're going to cover our yearling program. And then at the end, the part that I'm sure everybody's most excited about, we're actually going to go through the 3 homebred yearlings that are moving from our breeding program over to our racing program. And they're moving as of tonight. So we'll be covering that. You are free to ask questions in the chat. Just feel free to jump in and chat anytime. You're all muted, so you won't be able, nobody will be able to hear you if you try to ask questions. We do that to save from screaming kids and barking dogs. Just a quick funny story. We actually did one of these webinars one time, and we did not mute people, and we had a couple fighting the entire time in the backdrop. That was also just a little Wasabi Venture Stables funniness that goes back a few years, but it was pretty comical at the time. So with all that said, let's jump on in, and we're going to start with the graduate program. So when I started Wasabi Venture Stables, the concept was that I wanted to create an environment that would educate people to be owners on their own. And I wanted to create an environment that was safe for people to learn. They would not make many of the mistakes that people make when they jump into this game as an owner, and that they could learn things, and eventually they would graduate and be full-fledged owners. And so we started the graduate program. I think this is our 3rd year of our graduate program. And it really is a program where we're trying to make so that you're a full-fledged owner. That's what you are. So it's kind of the next step from being a club member. It's chance to be a full owner on a racehorse. You'll be a listed owner. You can create your own stable name if you want. You could, and we have a variety of things, and we walk you through that. We only offer it on yearlings and broodmares. We don't offer it on anything else. So none of our other horses, if we claim a horse or whatever, there's no opportunities for you to be a graduate on a claim. That's honestly just a logistical nightmare, so I don't deal with that. But we do it on yearlings and broodmares. Some of the benefits is we have grads only webinars. So we do this. We usually either have one of the trainers in. We usually talk about a topic that's a little deeper around ownership, and so things we've covered like how does licensing work, and what are the pitfalls of licensing, and how do you handle that with HISA? And we've done whole sessions on that. We've done sessions on how expenses work, and both inside of Wasabi and out, so you can understand what expenses are like in fine details. But it's really meant to be sort of education that is deeply around being an owner and a great steward as an owner. Of course, all of that comes with a WVS guiding hand, because we're in on the horse with you, obviously, if you're a club member, and we're managing it, just like we usually do. But it gives you that, sort of pathway to start looking and thinking about being a full owner. So some of the details of the program: you become a 20% owner. You own 20% of that yearling in this case, as we're talking about yearlings. There are only 2 slots available per horse, per yearling. Obviously, if you do the math, that's 40% of the horse. And we are always, Michelle and I are always 20% of the horse. So that's 60%. And so if there are 2 slots taken by graduates and we're 20%, that leaves 40% that actually gets sold to the club. And we'll talk about the yearling program in a couple of minutes, but that's kind of how the math works. maybe unlike some other syndicates, we literally only sell 100% of the horse. I know that's shocking, but there is only 100% of the horse to go around. It is not like the movie or the Broadway play The Producers, where it's 5% for everyone. So it's a bill of sale. We actually send you a bill of sale as a listed owner. You electronically sign. We have a brand new system for doing electronic signatures. We just started doing it with the broodmares, and this will be the first time we're doing it with the yearlings. I tested it today, worked like a charm, so we're in good shape. But you're a listed owner and you sign. You get to use your silks. If you don't have silks, we actually do a session on how to think about designing your silks, and we actually have people that help you with that. But you get to use your silks in 1/5 of the races. Once every 5 races, 20% of the races are racing in your silks. We've had some really good wins in graduate silks, as a matter of fact. Some big thrills out there. This is key. You must be licensed. Licensing in the horse racing business is a train wreck. I won't sugarcoat it. It is a pain in the butt. But we do our best to walk you through it and make sure it happens for you. If you are, I will just, we had one person one time. If you are a convicted felon, it does create problems with your license. So just keep that in mind. If you are, you might not think about trying to be a horse owner, because some jurisdictions will not let you through if you're a convicted felon. So and you do have to register with HISA. Very simple, doesn't cost anything, but you do have to do that, and we help you with that as well. You're a 20% owner. Guess what? You get 20% of the bills. This is full-fledged ownership. Unlike our normal racing programs and our yearling program, where, you know, if you get a bill, if the horse has a bill, the horse needs a surgery, whatever. In our regular program, obviously, you don't get any of those bills. But in as a graduate, you do. So it is important to understand what you're signing up for. We had a horse to have a surgery today, as a matter of fact, and I got a call. There were no graduates in on that yearling, who's now a 2-year-old, and you know, I had to give my credit card, because when they do surgeries, they want a credit card the minute they do the surgery, or they, you know, even if you have great credit, they want to make sure they get paid before the horse leaves the hospital. And so $3,700 I put on my personal credit card and paid the bill today. And you know, now if you were a graduate, you'd be getting 20% of that bill this month. So it's unpredictable. These are horses and they're unpredictable. Generally speaking, you know, you can kind of budget for that a horse is going to cost you about $3,000 a month if nothing's going wrong, if it's a horse in training. And you know, so 20% is, you know, around $600. But things can and often do go wrong. So just be aware of that. We have a graduate document that's in the Slack channel. It digs into detail a lot more about the financials, but the key is you'll get a monthly invoice and statement. You also get, when the horse starts running, you get 20% of the purse money, you know, right away too. So it's the good and the bad there. We do ask for horse fund, the horse fund aftercare requests of $20 per grad, just so you know. If not, you'll be getting the evil eye from Michelle. That's what I would say. So, so that's the grad program. Once again, feel free to ask questions about the grad program. You know, once again, if you're on Slack, which I think many of you are, if you're in the graduate channel, there's been a lot of discussion and detail in there, and I'm happy to answer any questions as we go along here. I'll try to keep an eye out on the chat, but hopefully you understand the grad program. The yearling program. Actually, the yearling program, in one of the ways, like many of our programs, it's very creative. I don't know anybody else that does yearling opportunities the way we do them. There is no ongoing expense or risk beyond the initial payments, just like our racing offerings. If that horse was a yearling, last year, none of those people who bought in got a bill today, right? They're not going to get a bill for that. It's all on me and Michelle at this point. So just like our racehorses, there's no ongoing bills of any kind. You can buy in between 1% and to 5%. Whole percentages only. There are no half percents on yearlings, so you're buying 1% to 5%. There's no $99 admin fee. Some of you I know give me a hard time about the $99 admin fee, which makes me chuckle, but still, but there is no admin fee on yearlings. The price is kind of the price. But what there is that there are 4 quarterly payments of $81 per 1% for the first year. So basically 4 payments total. So if you buy 1% of a yearling, 3 months from now, if you bought it today, you get charged to your card that's in our system $81. 3 months after that, you'd get another charge for $81. And another charge for 81, and another charge for 81 a year from now. And that would be all that you would ever be on the hook for. Basically, those $81 charges per 1%. Once again, so if you do 5%, you're getting $405 every quarter. But that's all, once again, there's no money after that you're on the hook of. It's really just kind to try to bridge that 1 year of expenses. And what we do is we actually take that money and we put it in as revenue. It's not revenue, but it offsets the expenses that are happening at that time. So often, if the horse doesn't have any troubles, you actually go into its racing career with a balance already, because it usually doesn't cost quite that much as long as nothing goes wrong. So that's how the yearling program works. Obviously, there's a horse fund aftercare request of $5 per 1% that you buy. That's the goal and the dream there. So thank you for that. I see that there's a chat up at the top. HISA currently, last I heard, has no jurisdiction over Canadian racing. That is correct. You do not have to register for HISA if you're Canadian. So you are safe from that, I believe. George, just give me a look.
No, I'm pretty sure if they were to try and raise
as an owner, yeah, as an owner, you still have to. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the horse. The horse, if it's running in Canada, is not covered by HISA. But if it's in the US, even as a Canadian, you have to register with HISA. That is correct. Sorry, that is correct. Okay.
And just to clarify on the aftercare, the way our system works, it's a $5 donation per purchase. So if you were to buy all 5% in one purchase, it only will take $5.
Right. Yes. So it doesn't ramp up there. So let's talk about the calendar of the yearling release. Okay. Obviously, today is the 25th. So you're at the second line. Prior to this, breeders, once again, these are all homebreds. So people who were in on the breeding had the opportunity to just stay in on that horse, right? They like the horse and they get to stay in on it. It's one of the great benefits of participating in the breeding program and staying all the way through into the racing program. So they sort of get a first right of refusal to keep their percentage, if you will. And that's been happening all along on these 3, and we'll talk about that in a second. Tonight, you're at the great webinar. Thank you all for coming. From the 25th, so basically from tonight through the 28th, starting at 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight, if you are interested in being a grad, please go to the Slack channel for graduates, and at 9 o'clock, you may post and say, I want to claim one of the grad spots on one of the yearlings that we're talking about. So you've still got a good hour and 10 minutes before it's happening. So the webinar will be over. We'll be able to post it and all of that stuff. So you'll have time to think about it. But at 9 o'clock Eastern, we will start the opening of allowing people to buy in as a grad on one of those. That will go till Friday, the 28th. And my gut feeling is all 6 spots are going to get filled well before the 28th because there are only 6 spots here. So, but on the 28th, we'll have it ready. We'll know what the percentages are, and we'll start releasing details on the details for the yearling offering for those 3 horses. And the first one will be on the 31st, the Demarchelier Coffee Pond filly. And then on the 1st, so that first one is Monday. Tuesday, we'll do the include Kuznetsov Colt. And then on Wednesday, we'll do the Blofeld Seville's Princess filly. Just a little discussion about the Demarchelier Coffee Pond filly. If both grad spots fill, there will be no percentage available to the club on that filly because the breeders are staying along with their percentage and have taken all 40% that's available. So just be aware that one, you may get the message that that one is sold out before it even becomes available as a yearling offering. But there are 2 grad spots available on that one. You may ask, this is a good time to talk about some other questions before we jump into the yearlings. I did get a couple questions beforehand, one of which was, how come there's only 3 yearlings this year? We had 6 and then had 2 others a little later last year. Some of that just has to do with the crop of horses that we have. We try to sell most of the male horses, and we had a big crop of male horses here. So a lot of them, got sold because of that. In some cases, we were in co-breeding situations where we were actually almost forced to sell them at auction because that was part of the deal of when stallion farm make a deal with you, you have to put it into an auction and sell it as far as for using that stallion on a co-breed. Some of it was driven by the physicals of the horses. We had a couple where they we just didn't think they were going to be great runners. They had physical issues, so we sold them early to move on from them. So you got all of these that happen. So although this is a smaller number than last year, it's not smaller for any reason except just, I would say, situational. I think in any given year, given our broodmare crop, we could have 7 here, we could have 3 here, we could have 2, I could see years where we could have 10 because the situation dictates it. So it's going to depend year to year, and so that's why there's 3. You're going to hear us talk about these 3 in a couple minutes. I think all 3 of these we also kept because we think they're going to be runners, and that's and on top of it, in many cases, especially like the Blofeld Seville's Princess filly, we wouldn't have gotten more than that because of the sire. Of what the pricing, sort of came in at, just because the market situation with that particular stallion, there's a cap to it, that because auctions are beauty contests, and sometimes the buyers are looking for other things when you think about commercial situations. So, but we kept these 3 because we think they're runners, and the marketplace said so. Is the answer to that question. Another question I got today is this the only 3 yearlings you'll have this year? My answer to that is I don't know. We're going to go to the September yearling sale at Keeneland, and we're going to work the sale. Might we get one? Sure, it's possible. Maybe we don't know. It's also possible that there are a couple yearlings that we have slotted for sales that we don't like the sales price that we get, and we bring them home and race them. For some of you who are in the hurry up and come back Colt from last year, that was the situation last year. I refused to let the horse go for $10,000, I think was the highest bid we got. And I said no. And so we kept him and we're going to race him. So if the market says that to one of our yearlings and we think the value to it as a runner is higher than that, we'll bring it home. But I can't guarantee you there'll be any others. There's very possible that this is the only three. There's a lot of ifs and buts there. Just going to look at the chat real quick. Okay, it was just a follow-up from Par. So the moment everyone's been waiting for. We're going to talk about the yearlings here a little bit. And so we're going to start with the Demarchelier Coffee Pond filly. This is a Maryland bred, Kentucky sired. The price from the consignor's appraisal, for those of you who don't know or haven't read the yearling documents, what we do is we bring in two consignors, people who sell horses at auctions professionally. We have them both independently do an estimate on each one of the yearlings that we keep. In this case, we did it for all the yearlings, even the ones we're taking to sale, but for these three. And then we take an average of their two prices and it becomes the price. So that's how this price is set. It's not, believe it or not, it's not George just throwing darts. It's we actually try to have a process here. So $25,000 for this filly. The graduate slot is $5,000, and then therefore an individual percentage on the yearling program will be $250. Once again, none of that includes the horse fund contribution if you so choose to make it and don't get the wrath of Michelle. So, that's it. George, do you want to talk a little bit about this this filly?
Yeah, absolutely. So she is one that we have sort of, all three of these actually were earmarked basically from birth as likely to wind up in the racing stable because they're all good physicals. This filly, you can see she's very strong, very well balanced, plenty of leg to her, very correct. All of the pieces are there. They all fit well together. That $25,000 appraisal is relatively high for her sire, Demarchelier, whose first foals are 2-year-olds this year. He stands for $5,000 at Claiborne in Kentucky. He is a son of Dubawi, from a fantastic European female family. Second name is a mare named Jude, who has a sort of plethora of Beatles-themed descendants out there, many of them running for the Coolmore group at various times. He's a very Demarchelier, very pretty horse, broad, $500,000 or $600,000 as a yearling over in Europe from Chad Brown and Peter Brandt. Won his first 3 starts in New York impressively. Took a bad step in his 4th start and retired to Claiborne, where Peter Brandt has supported him very strongly. They sold okay the first crop yearlings, and then they sold quite well as 2-year-olds this year. One of the consignors who did the appraisal for us pointed that out and said, he didn't think anybody went to the sales last year wanting to buy a Demarchelier yearling. But then when they saw them breeze at the 2-year-old sales this year, they couldn't help themselves. They're very pretty horses, very well balanced, probably going to be turfy, but they run half of the races across the country on turf these days. The dam, this is the first foal out of that dam, who is again from a very strong European female family. She's by a European study named Havana Gold, who is the sire of Havana Gray, who's probably the sexiest now second crop stallion in Europe these days. Coffee Pond's own dam is a Mangeux mare. He was a winner of the Arc de Triomphe for Michael Tabor. The female family is, again, very European. There's a Derby winner named Generous from this family. Group 1 winners, Imagine, Van Gogh from a couple of years ago in American Pharoah, Colt, who was a Group 1 winner at 2 for Coolmore. So it's a nice family, very turfy. We went turf top and bottom. We like turf horses and turf racing. Gorgeous filly, been gorgeous from the start, and yeah, everything to like about her.
Yep. And so, and this is the filly that I mentioned before on the last one, where the breeders are they've already snarfed up 40%. So just so you know. So we'll see how it plays out with the graduates. You might also ask, it's a good question, and you'll know from this. There are a lot of breeders on this one, which is, it's not necessarily a reflection of the horses or whatever. This is a horse that comes out of our individual foal program. So there's a lot more people in on it than like our old broodmare program. The other two are in our old broodmare program. I think Seville's Princess has 9 people total who are in on that broodmare back in the good old days when we had a much smaller group. So so it's not a reflection on people liking or not liking. It just is a sheer numbers thing. So that's Demarchelier Coffee Pond. I like saying Demarchelier too, by the way. I don't know if you do or not, but I do. So
Even if it's not the right way to say it.
I understand. It doesn't matter. I get that. I'm an American. I get to do it my way, right? That's kind of, the French are going to give up halfway anyway. So
Probably true.
yes. So next is the only male. Obviously, it's a colt that we kept. Include Kuznetsov colt, Maryland bred, Kentucky sired. The price from the consignor is 10 grand. So that makes a graduate slot, obviously 2 grand, and an individual percentage is 100 there for a yearling. And George, jump in a little bit and talk a little bit about why we kept this colt too.
He's sired by Include, who, if any of you have follow my stuff on social media, he passed away, it was last year. He was sort of my favorite Kentucky proven value sire. He gets lots of good runners. They just have not sort of historically sold that well at auction. But he gets lots and lots of really good runners that run for a long time. He happened to have been a Maryland bred grade 1 winner himself, by the Maryland bred grade 1 winner Broadbrush, which doesn't mean anything, but is kind of a neat thing about Include. So we bred to him sort of knowing that maybe we weren't going to get the most commercial foal, but the hope was it's a good cross with Kuznetsov. Physically, we liked the matchup, and the hope was it would produce a runner that would earn us breeder bonuses for a long time, even if we sort of left something on the table as far as yearling sales price goes. He's a big, robust, strapping colt, big bodied, big bone. His cannon bones are the biggest around of any foal that we've ever had. He's sort of a big puppy dog. Nicole at the farm, big fan. He's probably not going to be running in June of his 2-year-old season, but with that physique and that pedigree, hopefully he's running probably as a gelding, because 90% of horses should be geldings, probably as a gelding until he's 9 years old, and hopefully racking up purse money and breeder bonuses for a long time. Also gets the occasional jump horse, and they now pay breeder bonuses in Maryland on steeplechase horses. Not that that's our sort of what we're hoping for, but when we get to a second career, that's sort of kicking around out there too. Kuznetsov happens to be from the family of last year's champion Maryland steeplechase horse as well. So lots of reasons to think that this is a horse that could be competitive and profitable for a long time. Maryland now offers that certifier bonus also. So even if he gets sold or claimed away, that the group that brings him to the races will be in line for that certifier, or the originator bonus, I think they call it, forever also, which is a separate thing from the breeder bonuses. But a big, stout, robust horse, should run all day, dirt, turf, shouldn't matter. And it's that Larry Johnson Rand's chick female family that, again, if you follow me on social media at all, you know I'm a big fan of that. We've had 3 or 4 different brood mares from that family at various times in the Wasabi band. So nice big colt, got a big long future, hopefully.
Indeed.
Most horses should be running as geldings because they have no future as stallions, Brett. They are not going to be good enough to contribute to the ongoing gene pool. That's what I meant by that.
I think the famous quote was that it's Vanderbilt, right? That said it, that I could have gelded every single male horse I had and only made 2 mistakes. So that's pretty much the case. So doesn't mean he will 100%. We're not a group that 100% gelds, just to be clear. We kind of wait to the opportunity or the right time to do it. So brings us to Blofeld, Seville's Princess filly, last of the 3, Maryland bred, Maryland sired in this case. For those of you who have followed Blofeld's offspring, you'll understand why we bred to this. $30,000, which is honestly kind of up there on the ceiling on Blofelds. That tells you a little bit about the physical here. The graduate slot is 6,000, and obviously that makes an individual percentage 300. I will tell you, and this is not just my opinion. This is a regular, almost everyone who professionally comes out and sees this horse. This is by far the best physical on a horse, on a yearling, that we have ever bred. So if you replace Blofeld and you make that, I don't know, McLean's music, this is a 6-figure easy horse, and we wouldn't have kept it and raced it. We would have probably put it in an auction. So that's just the nature of the physical here. But Blofelds have done nothing but throw great runners. So this is one, once again, where at birth it was slotted that we were going to keep and race this horse for obvious reasons. George, I may have stolen a bunch of your thunder, but I'll let you jump in.
No, that's all right. I think Blofeld's average yearling price prior to now has been like $11,000 or $12,000. But he covered 120 mares this year and 100 last year. His first 14 foals that raced all won a race. So at one point he was 14 for 14 with winners, which is unheard of. He's still I don't remember what the percentage is now, but it's still like 80-something% winners. He has 3 black type stakes winners and a 4th that won a non-black type stakes race at Monmouth a couple weeks ago, and then another 6 or 7 stakes placed horses, which puts him up to like 25% stakes horses from runners, which again would be the best in Kentucky. Of course, he's in Maryland. That's why we're talking about a $30,000 price point here. But I think I counted the other day, and he has like 13 or 14 $100,000 earners from those first 2 crops. His 3rd crop is 2 years old this year. This filly, like TK said, she's just a knockout physical. She is tall, she is leggy, she looks like a 2-year-old already. She looks like you can put a saddle on her and take her to Laurel today. Big, beautiful, pretty, sort of not feisty, not tough, but likes to do what she wants to do, and you got to sort of convince her to do what you want her to do, which is, you know, they say that the good race mares are often sort of tough like that and independent minded. The female family improved while she was when. So her dam, Seville's Princess, is a half sister to the dam of a horse called Rattle and Roll, who won the Breeders' Futurity, which is a grade 1 as a 2-year-old 2 years ago. This year he has won the Pimlico Special, and I think 2 other grade 3s. And last time out, he was 2nd in the grade 1 Stephen Foster. In his most recent start for Kenny McPeaky's won over $1 million. so the female family has him up very close. Another reason that if she were by a sort of sexier Kentucky Stallion, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because she'd be in a, you know, book 2 of a sale somewhere, if not book 1. Really nice filly, should run early. She's tall, but she's mature. Should run early, should run long, turf, dirt, shouldn't matter. Yeah, nicest physical that we've bred so far.
Yeah, just one note on her health. She did get kicked, or
She flipped and fell over.
Yeah, so and she had some facial damage. It's actually, I think, on the other side from this picture, but I just saw her. Looks like you would not know, honestly, that it had happened. It's so that's did not impact anything about her abilities or anything like that. But she will stay at the farm an extra 30 days before she moves on to training, just as a precaution for that. But the other 2 are going to leave very soon to head to Middleburg and begin their race training. So it will kick in very soon. And once again, she'll follow shortly after, just as soon as you know, sort of get the all clear there. But there's nothing lingering, but there isn't at this point. So and that is our 3rd and final current homebred yearling. Once again, just to reiterate, I don't know if there'll be another yearling this year that comes up. Could be. This is not a TK sales trick. I just don't know. It'll depend on, you know, if we find something at the sale. We are going to work the Keeneland sale. We're going to be looking for female. We're going to be looking for fillies of bloodlines that we don't currently have that could be interesting, and can also check the box that they're going to be racehorses, or at least we think so. So, you know, so if we find that, and we find that at the right price, yeah, it's possible that we add a yearling or so here, but it is that's obviously no guarantee. But other than that, I'm happy to. I didn't see any other questions come in. There wasn't anything else, Michelle, was there? I didn't see anything. I'm going to post this on YouTube. I recorded here, so I'm going to post it on YouTube. I'm going to post it within, hopefully, in the next 15 minutes. It's ready, and I can get it up there, and it's good to go. And then once again at 9 p.m., so 48 minutes from now. Set your watches, synchronize the timers, all of that stuff. The graduate slots will open up for these 3 yearlings. And so thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate the time, and I'll look forward to seeing you online.